Wonderful guest joining us today. On Tuesdays, we meet people from different parts of the community. So we'd like to welcome here to Ramadan Radio. So I'm going to make sure that all of you are in positive energy mode. So many of you are too negative. You tell me about so many problems in the community. You talk to me about this is not right, this is not right, what is this? You keep telling me everything that's wrong in the community. Brothers, what I need you to do is engage and tell me what is right in the community. Give us some positive solutions so we can all share together.
Brilliant.
My brother Abdul Hamid, welcome to Ramadan Radio once again.
Thank you.
Good to meet you again.
I'm glad to be back again.
Now, I said to Abdul Hamid, if you're going to be my best friend, you got to keep in touch. I've not seen him since last week, Tuesday, 5 p.m. That's the last time I heard from him. And you have brought a wonderful guest with you today.
Yes, Brother Ibrahim is the chairman of African Center.
Of course, now we have two people. It's 2 against 1. Brother, welcome to Ramadan Radio. This is your first time to the radio?
Yes, Jazakallah khairan, brother.
Well done, well done. That is very good to have 2 wonderful guests again. And we always we get really happy to see new faces. We have these challenges that we want to engage with all of the 90,000 Muslims in our community. How's that? Is that a good idea?
That sounds brilliant. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, before we start discussing many topics today, I'm going to put out a message here. Right? This is a very simple message for all of you in this month of Ramadan, especially on Saturday and Sunday on Evington Road. The council are very, very strict. The city council are. And what do? They come and they do a lot of walkabouts here. They get complaints from the residents or they get complaints from somebody driving by, and then they are straight into action. The enforcement team, they come in pairs and they come to sort problems out. Right? And one of the messages I'm going to pass out to all of you today is that no gazebos at all. And you must have a license. If you are going to come to do charity collections, you must have a license. But if you have a license, you can do bucket collection, but you cannot do gazebos at all. So all of you who are in the charity sector, this is something you're going to have to take up with the council. It's not a implementation from the traders or the radio. So please don't blame us. You got to take it up with the council, or you got to speak to your councillor, or if you wish, you can even speak to your MP. Right? This is a message, Abdul Hamid, for all of us. Now, the next thing I'm going to say is that parking. Please park respectfully and park with a lot of responsibility. You can cause accidents. The cars that are parked right at the corner, you can't do that. It's not allowed. You get a ticket, you'll start arguing. Then there'll be an unnecessary confrontation. We don't want that. So in the evenings, it gets very busy here. A lot of people come around, they buy some dessert, they buy some tea, and then they park in a very irresponsible manner at the corner. All along the road, there's a lot of shops which are open after the iftar. So please park very responsibly, and we have to remind you each and every day. I hope that we are getting through to 50% of you, if not 90%. But 10% are not going to adhere to what I'm requesting. So please. Jazakallah khair. And it's a month of Ramadan, and we must behave. We must be top of our behavior. Is that correct?
It is correct, 100%, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd like to just add to that. Jazakallah khairan for that, and for that information. What we'd like to add as well is, because we're also is a month of ibadah, it's a month of coming together, praying Taraweeh at night and so on. We also would like to request the listeners and the audience, at White, to also respect the masajids as well, because a lot of people come to drive to the masajids and they park inappropriately, probably blocking the neighbours' driveway or blocking the roads and so on. So we would like to also just ask to be, respectful and mindful of the neighbors as well, of the masajids, because we don't want to cause any issues for the masajids as well. And when the neighbors come to complain and they, you're blocking my driveway, I need to go to work and you need to, take my kids to the emergency. So we need to be really mindful of our neighbors and respect, the rules and park appropriately. And if, most desirable, if you can come walking, take your bicycle, public transport, maybe not at that time of the night when there's Tarawih on, but, just mainly to be really mindful, because the masajids are there to, to provide a place of worship and to, pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness in this month. So you don't want to earn, bad deeds by blocking somebody's driveway who needs to go to work or who needs to take their child to hospital and so on. So, Jazakumullahu khairan. Barakallahu.
Now, I know your masjid, just outside the masjid, there's room there only for about 15 cars, and then it's full.
Car park in the car park is
Yeah.
about 15 to 16 places.
Yeah.
15 to 16
Yeah,
spaces.
when
So
I
then
was
it's
last
full.
there, I counted 15, so I'm not
Yeah.
doing so bad.
No, that's good.
Because I am an attention to fine detail
Brilliant.
person. So when I came there, I counted. Then I saw that one evening when I was there, people were parking in front of the cars that had parked legally, respectfully.
True.
Yes?
We
So-
have issues with that. That actually we're planning to solve that issue, but it does happen. Yes, you're right. Actually, that when people come and they see that the car spaces are full, all the places
Yeah.
are taken,
That's right, yeah.
and they
And-
they might be late for the prayer.
And
they think,
almost
"Let's drop
every
it."
evening, there's a call out, isn't there?
Yes.
Number plate,
Can you remove
the
this
black car,
Yeah.
number plate, please remove your car.
Yeah, that's
So this is a very common practice. Now, almost every masjid has this problem about parking, where to park. Yes? Now, there's one masjid, which is the Conduit Street Mosque. They have a huge car park across the road. Now, that is a huge benefit, isn't it,
yeah.
Definitely.
for them? Now, parking is a problem everywhere. So the brother has said it's very important that you park in a respectful manner. You don't block anybody's driveway. You don't even double park. And it's very important because this is where we have problems. And it can lead to unnecessary confrontation, argument, and a little bit of anger will set in.
Definitely.
Yes? And we don't want that. In this month of Ramadan, we have to be
Forgiving and
Very
kind.
mindful, very conscious.
Yeah.
You need to be conscious of your
extra
actions.
conscious.
Absolutely.
Now, we say that why be like that only in Ramadan? We should be like that every day. Yes?
Every single day. As a Muslim,
Yeah.
it's part of our, religion to be mindful of others, to be respectful of others, and it's throughout the year. It's not just the month of Ramadan, but because the month of Ramadan is very busy month for most of the masajids, and they're fully packed, to be honest with you. That's why we need to be on the ball most of the time in the month of Ramadan and just keep on announcing, keep on telling people, because this is when we have the most crowds coming to the masjid at one time.
That's right, yeah. So now we are going to move on with other very important topics that we need to discuss today. Now, all of you listening in right now, please do call in on 0116 4822 You're free to ask the brothers any question that you wish, any information you need. And the WhatsApp message is 077488555055. You're listening to Brother Zed on the Real Talk Show with the guest from Masjid Furqan. So we pleased to welcome you again today here in the studio, Brother Abdul Hamid. We have so many challenges in the community, not only with one community. We have A to Z communities here, Albanians, Bangladeshis, all from right up to Z. You have communities here in the city of Leicester, almost, yes?
True.
And so on.
Yeah.
And often I ask somebody, well, who's here from I? Then they'll forget that it's India.
Or Iraq.
And they get under pressure. They get under pressure, right? Say, oh, I, what do I say? So you said very quickly, two communities that are here. So the Iraqis predominantly came here after the Gulf War I and Gulf War II. We won't talk about them now because people get very upset, right, about that. So we all know the history very well. So one of the issues facing all the communities, Abdul Hamid, is Islamophobia and discrimination. Yes?
Yes.
Would you agree that?
Yes, I would agree with that. I
Now,
think
what is your experience been at the time you have been in the city of Leicester? What year did you come here in the city of Leicester?
I myself came to, just before I actually answer that question, I'd like to just make a small correction. The masjid, actually, although it's known as Masjid Al-Furqan, the actually official name is Al-Furqan Center, because we are aware that, Masjid Al-Furqan is on East Park Road and it's been there longer, much longer. So this one actually is, because it encompasses actually quite a lot of activities and different parts, so to say. We say it's Al-Furqan Center. So it's got a longer name, which is registered as Al-Furqan Community and Cultural Association. But it's Al-Furqan Center rather than Masjid on itself, because the Masjid actually, we are aware that there is a Masjid Al-Furqan on East Park Road. So it's just a small correction. It's just the Al-Furqan Center. It's mostly known on the website. You'll see it's Al-Furqan Center. On any leaflets, it's Al-Furqan Center, any information pamphlets, anything like that. So Jazakumullahu khairan.
That is very, very welcome. Every correction we make for each other is what our deen's about.
Definitely.
Right? We have to make corrections to each other when we do things wrong. We have to make a correction. So if somebody points out that, it's what we call a constructive
Definitely.
way forward, right? Then you get better.
Absolutely.
So
back to your question.
Now we are saying that we call it Masjid or Al-Furqan.
Al-Furqan Center.
Yeah, Al-Furqan Center.
Yes.
Now this is very interesting. Now, brothers and sisters, take on board that Al-Furqan Center is not just a masjid.
No, that's correct.
It encompasses many services offered to the community, which we are going to talk about today: community engagement, the dialogue, the empowerment through education, and all these are the kind of things we want to talk about. So we can see how progressively we are moving forward with our Gen Z community and our elderly community, right?
Yes.
Those of us, some of us are in the middle. But if we're going to make a good tomorrow, that community, what they call the Gen Z, you probably know more about that community than I do.
Yeah, that's correct.
We have to reach out to them,
And engage. Yeah.
engage with them, bring them into the community fold and let them have the opportunity, show them an asset, and we can grow them to be very successful either in their deen and in their business or in their education in university.
Sure.
And every one of you, take some time out. Time is our biggest asset in this dunya. Take some time out, give a little time to another. You agree with that?
It's true, definitely. We, like you said, to be honest with you, we just need to engage as a community. We need to come together more often. I probably need to visit more masajids, even though at the moment when we were sort of trying to fundraise for the extension of the masjid, we have visited quite a number of masajids, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, in Leicester. Quite a lot of the masajids actually welcomed us and opened their doors to us and said, come do a collection. Too many to name, to be honest with you, in Leicester and across the UK. Jazakumullahu khairan, may Allah put that in their scale of good deeds. But yes, you're right, actually. We need to take the time to get to know one another, to visit different communities, probably different masajids, different community centers, where people come together mainly to, inshallah.
So this is a drive that we are pushing very, very much so, that we would like all the masajids, all the people in the community to integrate with each other, right? There's absolutely no harm in maybe 15 people from your masajid going to pray in another masajid, and likewise that 15 are coming. And this is how we integrate with our engagement. The Prophet ﷺ in the mosque in Medina, do you think it was open only for one type?
No.
Right? How many different people would come there?
Brother Zed, this is what I wanted actually to highlight. I'll give, obviously he's the chairman, the center manager at the moment at Al-Furqan Center. So he probably sees a lot more people, because I'm, in and out most of the times. He sees a lot more people come through the doors. But to be honest with you, if I just may start saying,
if you could, excuse me, if you could you move here. Okay. So they can, that's it. That's just a perfect place to be, right? My producer is happy that I've put you in the right position now.
Brilliant.
I can see a big smile on his face there.
That's
So,
good.
yes.
It's you probably come to Al Furqan Center, like as you said before, but many people who are listening might not have been actually visited the center or the masjid. It's, to be honest with you, initially it was established by the Somali community. Some elders came together and said, we need a place where we can teach our kids. We have more freedom of space and where we can actually instruct the people. Because initially the idea was obviously that when you're giving da'wah, you also give da'wah to your people first. So, and the language, the Somali language, obviously a priority. So they said, obviously, if we come under maybe another community, we might not have enough facilities to teach. So this is why actually the Somali community, they set up Al Furqan Center in St. Matthews. But over the years, actually, since 2009, when it opened its doors, you see actually that the demographics is changing massive. So it's massively changing. So I would say maybe close to 50% are non-Somalis who use the services.
Of course,
you've got the Gujarati community, you got the Pakistanis, you got the Algerian community, Tanzanian community. People from different African communities are there.
As they say,
the Bosnian,
give me a five, give me a five right away. This is what I like to hear.
That's it.
He's my man.
That's correct.
Right?
So
that's
if you
good
come to
news.
pray, for example, in Taraweeh time, you will not just see Somali faces there, to be honest with you. You'll see a diverse of community using these facilities. The madrasa is exactly the same. I think
It is, yeah.
the center manager and the head teacher of the madrasa will tell you the same thing. The madrasa is almost 50-50, where maybe 50% is Somalis and the other 50% is non-Somalis. So this is actually, this is the way forward for our communities.
So it's important that, Abdul Hamid, we have to celebrate these positive attributes.
Yes.
And we have to show the world.
And raise awareness of it.
Yeah. And
There's
this is
a
very
lot of-
important. So we need to link up with your social media team. And this is for all of you listening in. You're doing all wonderful work in the community that is not talked about. And maybe we get all these team together from all the mosques and community organizations and set up a nice session for them so they can learn how to promote themselves in a positive light to the wider community also, using the latest tools that social media has got today, right? Now, the power of social media. You can see today that the Western governments, they want to shut down social media. Why? Because it's educating the people.
It's giving voice to many people who normally wouldn't have. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, you can see the massacres that happened in Iraq, where 1 million people lost their lives, more than 1 million. And we didn't have the awareness like we do every day today. We see it on our screens, don't we?
Yeah.
And
what's happening in
there's
Gaza?
positive attributes of that social media. It's an awakening for all of us, and there is some negative attributes as well. But in this particular case of war and killings of innocent human beings, it's waking everybody up. I saw one video yesterday, a girl about 20, 21 years old, and she's absolutely said that we are the Gen Z and we are refusing to comply with the system as it is. We are not going to go to war. We don't want war. We don't want killing. Now that is the younger generation talking to the older generation. Change your ways. Now, isn't it normally the other way around? The parent is telling the child to change your ways. I want you to be a better human being, to be an asset to the community. Now we have a situation where, in terms of humanity, the younger generation is telling the older generation to change their ways.
What's happening in Gaza was Palestine specifically was a wake-up call. I mean, I think even the wider community, even the non-Muslims, have now looked at this situation and said, this is not acceptable. And we've got, as you see in the London protests that was happening recently, you see a wide range of communities from different backgrounds, different religions, all supporting the same cause to stop what's happening in here. And even the fundraising that some of the mosques are doing have now hit significant numbers. I mean, it really is one of the most touching incidents that are happening so far.
So all of us, we say, your knowledge is your power is your knowledge. And empowerment through education is a critical factor, isn't it?
Definitely.
Now, you can say your empowerment through education can be your spirituality and your knowledge of dunya. Everyday matters that affect us, because one of the problems we see is that young people, why they don't engage in our political structure. Sometimes they lose interest because they say, no, I don't care. We need to change that, my brother.
Definitely. I was asked recently on a trip to Australia, I was asked actually this same question that you're just raising, Brother Zed, is what is, my opinion of, Muslims engaging with political parties or politically becoming active in their communities? Is that something permissible in the deen, or is that something permissible in the deen? And I have to, put my hand up and say, to be honest with you, we're not here, the ulama, to say this is halal or this is haram. But we live in this environment, and we know the obstacles and problems faced by our communities. So if we don't actually engage and we don't actually become vocal in the political arena, then we would be actually left out, so to say. And to be honest with you, a lot of our communities are left behind purely because of that. And it's very important. But we need to obviously be critical in when we're engaging, how we engage. That's very important, because we need to choose, what's right and what's wrong, and what's good for our community, what's good for our deen, and so on. So I'm not saying just go and vote to anybody and, get engaged politically, but be conscious of what's happening around your community and, what services are lacking there, what facilities are lacking there, how's the housing, how's, the health. We need to be obviously more active, definitely.
Of course, it's for those of you in the community, if you are young or old, brother has pointed out very clearly that make a list of what you want to see.
Definitely.
And then that way you say, we want to create the change that we want to see in our city. We want to make a noise for what we want to see in our dunya, in the world.
Definitely.
Yes. And when you see our deen promotes peace all the time, yes?
Definitely.
And that's where we want to be heading. So all of you youngsters, please come forward, discuss this empowerment through education with all the training courses that you're offering in various across the field, not only what we've mentioned about the politics, but also you're doing a lot of education courses there, aren't you?
Yes, we've started a lot of different courses. Recently, we were doing an essentials courses, which is a 1-year program to build everybody's educations from the grassroots up to a standard level where they can understand. We are now developing that into a year 2 program. So we are education in our mosque is very, very important. We're now also soon teaming up with secular education such as maths and science. So we want to ideally bring out a child that's well established in both fields, in its Islamic studies field and also in its education field as well.
So I would also put forward to you that, from my experience, always set up a barometer, accountability, the successes that you're having. If you've got 50 students, what you've achieved with them, then that is what people get inspired by. So, wow, I want to send my child there, right? So you are an asset. So whenever we are working in empowerment and we are working in education, in our businesses, we say 2 words only, A and L. Are you an asset or are you a liability? In our deen is no different. We have to perform so many good tasks. We are an asset. Yes?
Definitely.
Like the zakat, for example, is a pillar of our society. We talked about this last week.
Yeah, we did,
the Leicester Zakat Fund, newly set up so that we can collect in there a fund of at least £500,000. Then that can be deployed into the much needed cases of zakat. So this is where we talked about it last week, and I'd like you to take this on board as well, that Al Furqan Center can be a center that meets the people who are needy. Then they will go through the form, they will see eligibility. Not everybody is eligible for zakat, yes? So if you're eligible, then they will forward the matter to the body that will then deploy the fund. So you can also keep track as to how many people are absolutely in dire need of support and help. So once you will support them, help them, then that is what our deen teaches us. And it creates also togetherness,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Our unity increases. Yes?
Yes.
And so on.
What I just wanted to point out is the program that Brother Abdulhamid just talked about
Yeah.
for the youth, primarily for the youth, is actually to counter this lack of knowledge. You know, when you go out to the colleges and the universities and so on, there's a lot of debate about, is Islam truth or this or that, so it's purely, to be honest with you, just to give you confidence, to give the young people confidence in their deen. So if you know your deen, then you can't be really, fooled or, misled by, a different argument. So this is actually, it's second year going now, actually, the Foundation Principles of Islamic Studies. So it's the second year now. It's going to go on year 3 now. And it's free of charge. So it's from 15 onwards. So
what time is it then? Is it like in the evenings or Saturdays?
Yeah, it's every Saturday and Sunday.
Every
from
Saturday,
4
Sunday.
till 6.
4 till 6.
4 till 6.
2 hours.
2 hours.
And
4 subjects.
if the listeners are listening in right now, what kind of subjects would you be teaching?
So we cover Aqidah,
Yeah.
we cover Hadith, we cover Fiqh, and currently Seerah.
Mm.
So these are 4 main primary subjects that we
So
think.
that is the spiritual education.
Yes.
Is there like for our tuition, for our university and our primary school, secondary school, do you offer any support for that?
At the moment, the mosque, the center consists of 4 floors. A whole floor is dedicated just for education. These are primarily maths, science, and at the moment we're looking for an English teacher as well. But at the moment we covered the two main fields, and they're covered at the Furqan Center, the floor above us.
Now, brothers and sisters, you can see 4 floors, and they're not for free. They cost. You got heating, lighting. It's not a brand new building. It hasn't got the best heating solution there, right? Old buildings is what we have started the journey with. Now, then there is running costs.
Yes.
We discussed this last week.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of costs here. And this money cannot be raised simply by donations on a Friday, Jummah prayer. It is not possible. There's a lot of money required to support all of that. And on Sunday, I visited a Sikh Gurdwara. Have you ever been to one?
I haven't personally, no.
That's me and you are going to go there. And you shall join us, Abdul Hamid. And they have, I think, 5 stories there on East Park Road.
I've drove past many times, actually, but I haven't been inside. Yeah.
Downstairs, in the basement, they created what's called a langar, Langar. Every day they feed people there. Anyone can go in there and eat. And they spend £5,000 a week for feeding 7 days. The feed is on throughout the day. Yeah. That was enlightening to go and see that. So how they've used the whole building fully is incredible. And there's things to learn from them. They told me, top floor, we thought that we'll build it, modify it, decorate it. They spent good money there. And they said we could not use it because we wanted to do a function hall there. But due to health and safety issues, fire escape, no chance. They could not get permission to do that. So they created a gym there. And anybody can go there. You don't have to be of that faith. Anybody can go there. So we learn from
Different
other communities.
Different communities.
When we engage with each other. And you think, if 4 of your staff went there, met with their chairman, they met their committee, and you'll be happy and they'll be happy. You see how you bond together with each other? So let's do it.
No, it's a brilliant idea to share information. So there might be stuff that we're doing at Al Furqan Center that they might actually benefit from.
Vice versa.
And there are other things that we might be able to benefit from.
Now,
and at the same time, it also creates community cohesion as well.
Exactly. So I think
we share the same spaces. We live in the same
we
city.
talk about these things on the radio because we want positive attributes, right? We are living in a very diverse city. Majority, this city is 50% plus ethnic community. 50% plus. I would say it's maybe 58%. So we go and visit each other. So interfaith, they sit down, they have a cup of tea, they talk about these things. But I'm saying, let's do it, take it a step further by visiting each other, and like the center in the city retreat. You've been there, Abdul Hamid, haven't you?
I've heard a lot about it. I haven't been there yet.
Yeah.
I've been to City Retreat.
Yeah,
yes.
you've been
I
there.
have
You've been
yes,
there,
yeah.
yes. And you saw that center was made out of nothing. And when Abdul Hamid talks about basements to me, I'd like to take him there to show him the basement there and how it is. And what were the challenges to make a basement there out of nothing? What were the challenges? It was the biggest worry was that the building would fall on your head because there are 4 stories ahead upstairs.
Sure.
So it's quite a challenge.
One of the things that we, that we were thinking about, we discussed, few of us actually discussed, is to trying to arrange actually maybe an annual meeting between the centers, Islamic centers, and the organizations and so on, so that we can share the best practice.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there is, a benefit in each, center. That's something that they do and that the other centers are not doing, or the other masajids are not doing. So if we come together, actually, because at the end of the day, we're one ummah, and we live in the same city, we have the same problems.
I think so. Let's, there were 3 of us here in the studio now, and we're all looking at each other, feeling happy, positive energy, and let's put that into action and make this happen. So at Al Furqan Center, we invite the wide range of community on one particular day, and we make that an annual event. Why not?
So what we do normally is annual iftar for non-Muslims.
Yeah.
And so
What day is that?
We just had one recently happen 3 days ago, where
How did that go?
2 sisters became Muslim and took the Shahada.
MashaAllah,
So-
MashaAllah.
So a lot of the the people who are not so well off, they come. The homeless people. Actually, we invite them as well over because it's to share them with the good feeling of Ramadan. So to show them what iftar is all about, what the month of fasting is all about. So we give them information about Islam as well. So we give them a tour at the masjid and the center. So this is what happens annually. So we invite anybody who's listening as well. Next time, Brother Abdul Hamid will let you know about the dates that we hold next time, inshallah.
Yes.
So
we also have a general iftar every single night. So after we have a good sort of a dinner where we have biryani and chicken, and that's open for every single
Now,
person.
this
Muslim
is
or
some
non-Muslim.
very good ideas we are thrashing out here, right? So we talked about quite a few long list of items, and we got 12 minutes left only. Time is flying.
When you're having good
What's
time.
happening? Yeah, we're having good time.
I thought I haven't
So-
started yet.
Yeah, we're full of positive energy. Now, all of you listening in at home, call in and engage. Don't just sit there and complain and then afterwards send me a text message or a WhatsApp and complain and give me a long list of complaints. And then I have to deal with them. I have to convert that negative into positive, right? So call in 0116482286. 2 wonderful guests from the Al Furqan Center that is in St. Matthews. Those of you who are 75 years old, 65 years old, 55 years old, you'll remember that as being the Nikita
clothing center.
clothing
Clothing.
factory.
Yeah, that's it.
They were doing textiles.
Yeah.
That's where that location is. So it's very close to the school.
Taylor Road. It's not
Taylor
very far
Road
from
School.
Taylor Road School, yeah.
And if you go to the petrol station, you turn right there, and you'll head that way.
That's it.
Yes, correct.
You take a left
So
again.
if you type in Al Furqan Center on your phone,
That's even better.
it'll get you there.
Right. That's
Nowadays
it.
we all
Yeah.
use
That's
that
even
phone to get
better.
around.
Now we're going to talk about we got 10 minutes: Islamophobia and discrimination. Now, all of us, at some point, we come across that. We're living in the inner city. Those guys say, "Oh, I never experienced this. I've never had this problem." They're working in a different environment. But here, we have this problem that we are trying to deal with for 60 years in this country. And it's a difficult one. It's not an easy one to deal with, right? And what's happening is that all the agencies around us try to manage this problem instead of finding a solution and a cure. And the solution and cure, it lies at home of every single person in this country. It starts at home. It doesn't start on the street. Predominantly, majority of people are very good. They're tolerant of each other. It's that minority that you can never, ever get rid of. So how do you cope with this? The prejudices that we face.
I think we all know that the problem exists, and I think one way or another we come across these issues, especially when it comes to racism, for example, or Islamophobia. But the thing is that we just need to look at what the root cause is actually. I believe the root cause is lack of knowledge, not knowing one another. I think not only the outside non-Muslim white community do we face any of these issues. I think within the Muslim community itself that exists, to be honest with you, because the communities they're not engaging with itself. They're not engaging with each other. So the thing is actually, if we tell people what we stand for and what we are, and we invite them into our houses, into our centers, into our masajids, then this problem will, you will never solve 100% of the problem usually, but it will improve definitely, because it's lack of knowledge. If you don't know something, you'll be afraid of it. So this, I think, me personally, the experience that I had is people not knowing about Islam, or people hearing a lot of negativities about Islam on the media. So when you actually engage with the person and you discuss with the person what the issue is, they'll tell you a lot of the things that they hear from the media. So if we engage with the communities and we actually put out more information on social media or our websites or the radios like this and so on, then people will get to know each other. That barrier will actually slightly decrease.
And of course, Brother Abdul Hamid, going on from all the points you mentioned, is that again we need to bullet point them and deal with them. That misrepresentation then transfers to the media. So whatever we see there with discrimination, with Islamophobia, the media has a very, very strong role to play in this, to see it for what it is, right? And not be trying to mollycoddle and create a story for it, right? So we have misrepresentation in the media. You saw that the people who spoke the truth, like in the Iraq war, we didn't have the social media, did we?
No.
Right? But what we had, something that came up out of the blue called WikiLeaks, right? And all these cables were out in the open. And the 2 or 3 people who actually was pinpointed to say that they are the ones who made this happen, they're in jail.
Yeah.
Yes? They're in jail. So you speak the truth. You speak the truth, look what happens. What's happening now? They want to shut down the social media platforms, the newspapers. This war could have been over with 2 telephone calls. But why? Why they don't make these calls? So the media is part of the problem, not part of the solution, right? Now today I sit here in the position of media, right? Even I'm afraid to say the right word, the wrong word, what is right, what is wrong. Just one word could make me lose my job here at the Radio Ramadan, brothers and sisters. So be ready to support me. I'll need lots of money to pay for the lawyers, right? So we are in these times, lawyers are getting letters, they're getting cancelled. They'll get cancelled from their profession because they've sent a tweet out. So you
have to be quite careful recently these days.
And this is a message for all of you, right? When you're tweeting, you're sending messages, you have to be very mindful that somebody will come and knocking at your door. There was one person who criticized a prominent politician, and next day 8 officers came to his door. So media representation, Islamophobia, discrimination, they're all connected with each other. So
I think if a lot of those who are causing this Islamophobia, if they knew what true Islam is, and if the Muslims acted how Muslims should really act, which is respect their neighbors, which is be kind, which is be good, which is be positive role models, I think it would have changed a lot of the narrative. So I agree with Ibrahim.
So
education.
To the left or to the right, we have anti-Muslim, and then on the other side we have anti-Semitism, right? Now those two are prevalent. They're right there every day in the news. then you drop down a graph and you see how many attacks are happening to both of them. But you don't see, then it goes on forever, anti-Christian, anti-Hindutva, and so on. It doesn't stop, does it?
Yeah.
Because solutions have not been put on the table. Only management has been put on the table.
Yeah, but it's I think it's the rise of populism, in terms of political sphere now, that actually is causing a lot of this hatred. Because if you look back in the history, when Hitler came to power, actually, it was similar situation in Germany, where a lot of the native Germans felt that they were left out, that they were left behind, in their communities and so on, and the Jewish community was taken over and so on, so on, so on. So this is actually, it's what's happening now. Actually, it's to say, the Muslims are doing this, or the Muslims are doing that, or the Jews are doing this, or the Jews are doing that. So it's populism in terms of politics. So when Trump came to power, what happened in America? They start banning the Muslim people coming from Muslim countries and so on. So that's why actually we need a better political representation, and maybe also your fear of being cancelled and so on. Maybe we need some better legal advice as well. So if we all come together and we have some sort of a funds where we can say, if ZED is in trouble, you might be able to bail you out. I personally might not be able to, but if we have some sort of...
very well organization called MEND. You're familiar with them.
We are very familiar with MEND, yes. Yeah.
And look what they did to MEND. They want to cancel MEND.
Yeah,
why?
Because of the changes that they're proposing now.
They're proposing the changes, and these changes, no doubt, they'll be challenged, and we should all support these organizations because they're the only ones that I know came forward to defend. Now, you've seen, brothers and sisters, these matters are very important because there was a 13-year-old boy who got attacked coming out of his mosque in London. So there are attacks all over the country that we only get to hear about 1% of them. So these attacks can be you tomorrow, can be me, can be our children. And isn't it a worry for us?
It is a big worry.
Yeah, a good society is a safe society. Security is of paramount importance, right? If we don't feel secure walking out on the street, how we can live in a society like that? And we're in the first world. It's not acceptable.
Nobody should actually be put in that position to be scared to get out of their houses or go to the mosque and so on. So that is something that we need to be, creating awareness of and tackling that issue head on, inshallah.
So definitely, brothers and sisters, there is a lot of disadvantages in the communities, not only in one part of the city, but across the city. There are different social disadvantages that we all have to be aware of and work on each area accordingly, and work together as a community of all citizens in the city. And I, for one, say that if all the communities come together, they integrate, then we will go forward. Inshallah. And we will be able to solve a lot of these, half of these problems we'll be able to solve.
We also, obviously, today we visited you from Al Furqan Center in St. Matthews, and we want to also share that sentiment with you. If we come together, because at the moment we're actually planning to expand, as we said earlier, to expand the masjid into the ground floor, the basement. So we need help with that as well, inshallah ta'ala. If any of the listeners...
That goes without saying, brothers and sisters, any donation, anything that you can donate for this project, please do so, because this is another mosque that is doing wonderful job. It's not only a mosque, it is a center. Yeah. It is providing services to the community, right? Yeah. So please do come forward. Yeah. Your street is today the whole city.
So what we want to do basically, just if I briefly may actually mention, is to provide ghusl mayyit area where we can prepare the dead Muslims, for burial.
For ghusl.
Ghusl area for deceased Muslims.
Yeah.
And also gym for, where we can actually split the days between men and women, because there's a lot of health issues in the communities.
You want to do that in the basement,
In the basement. Also proper wudu facilities, because the wudu facilities at the moment is, because the congregation is quite large and it's not adequate, to be honest.
So I think it's good for you to visit the city retreat, perhaps. We can all three go there together and we can show you the basement there, the challenges that we had there. Now, brothers and sisters, a quick salam to everyone, because we are coming to the end now.
Anybody who wants to help can go on the website, afurqancenter.co.uk.
Jazakallah khair for
khairan
visiting today,
for your
brothers and
listeners.
sisters. You will hear from me on Thursday